down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
See what you can do, man.
Oh. Wait.
That's a strike right there.
Woo!
Connect with family and friends. Go bowling.
Two-thirds of the season are done, and now we enter crunch time as we go to the last 5 races of the Renu Sealcoating Late Model Stock Series for the North-South Racing League. Hello, race fans, and welcome to the Renu Sealcoating Brew City Classic here from the Milwaukee Mile, as mentioned with the Renu Sealcoating Late Model Stock Series. Renu Sealcoating, for over 20 years, Renu has been protecting and maintaining southern Wisconsin's driveways, parking lots, and playgrounds. With over 75 years of combined asphalt expertise, they treat every customer like family and stand by their work every time. Whether it's your home driveway or a megastore parking lot, Renu Sealcoating has you covered. Call 608-576-7897 or visit renewsealcoating.com for a quote today. My name is Kelly Dahl. Alongside me here tonight is Al Smith Jr., who's feeling a little bit under the weather, so I'm kind of taking the driver's seat here tonight. And Al, Milwaukee Mile, this is a long racetrack for these late model stock cars.
Yeah, big mile, one mile racetrack that's going to provide a lot of, I think, action here tonight, Kelly, but you're also going to see a lot of patience. So really one line right around the bottom of this racetrack.
Well, as we come into qualifying here, let's take a quick look at our points after Oxford. As we come after last week here, Bryan Hacker has opened up that lead just a little bit more. He's now sitting 20 points over Guillaume Fortin. Scott Negus sits 68 points behind in third. Dylan Connor, after his win last week, is now just 1 point back. And then Matt Hackathorn rounds out that top 5. But as mentioned, 5 races left here in the season, including tonight, and Guillaume Fortin, I think, still has a chance at taking down Bryan Hacker, but he's got to get it started here tonight, and he's pretty much got to beat him every week here from here on out.
Yeah, Bryan's had a stellar season this season. Last week didn't quite go the way, but raised a lot of money for his foundations, and are proud to be a part of that, along with the North-South Racing League. But Bryan's really been on top of his game all season long. We'll have to see what these next 5 weeks have in store for him and the rest of these competitors as they get ready to go here at Milwaukee.
And qualifying is underway. One of the first cars out there is the 03 of Dante Curtis. I believe he's won here 2 times before, but not with the late model stocks, and I think he just caught the wall. So he's going to probably have to reset, go again, but that means he's only going to get 1 lap, and I don't know if this is going to be one of those tracks where that first lap is the fast lap, but our first time should be coming across here soon. Both Dan Janjanin and Justin McDuff coming across the line here. And let's see who's going to go to the top of the board first. It's going to be Justin McDuff with a 31.551, and then Ryan Johnson immediately 31.503. And it's almost as fast as we've seen in practice. A 31.494 by Hacker and Connor were the 2 fastest practice times. Now moving up to the top of the board, that's the 55 of Scott Negus with a 31.479. I believe the late model stocks have not come to this track here before with the North-South Racing League, so the fastest time here tonight in the Mad Plowing Fast Time Award here will be also taking home the track record. So let's see who's going to be taking that home tonight. We still got a few more cars coming around here. Braden Campbell is going to move up into 4th place with his second lap. A couple drivers finishing their second lap. Rob Donaldson going another little bit faster with a 31.480, but seems like that first lap may be the flying lap for a lot of these drivers. Now, Dante Curtis, he is going to get there on his second lap. He's going to go 3rd fastest, 31.490. Austin Williams now coming across the line here very shortly on his second lap. Let's see what he's going to get done here. He's only going to he is going to go a little faster, so he's up into that top 8 for the redraw. And now Randy Nichols, top of the board, 31.437.
Nichols doing a good job there qualifying. Now Guillaume Fortin coming up to speed for his first lap down the backstretch. He has to put in a good time here to try to get in to the RC2 Graphic Solutions redraw. And we'll see what kind of lap he can put in there. Bryan Hacker out there as well. So Some of the fast guys still left to qualify here as Jeff Bergner will go third quick.
Yeah, Randy Nichols on his second lap did not improve his time, so he will sit there with a 31.437. Philip Martin also going to go up to second place, 31.441 from him. Now let's see Guillaume Fortin coming around here in turns 3 and 4. He needs a fast time. He wants to get that bonus point for the fast time award. Let's see what he can do here. We've seen that fastest first lap is the fast lap for a lot of these guys. Now coming across the line, what's it going to be for the 13 QC? Third fastest. He's not quite going to get Randy Nichols. That's a 31.445. So he will come around and go for it on his second lap, see if he can improve. Bryan Hacker, though, he's going to move to the top of the board, and that is not what Guillaume wants to see. 31.407 from the driver of the number 2 car, and that is going to put him on the top of the board for now. Let's see if anyone can dethrone him in the last minute of qualifying here. Guillaume is going to come off of turn 4. Coming to the line, does he improve at all? Across the line, he does not, just slightly slower on his second lap.
Yeah, the only car left up to speed, Dustin Shepard and Dylan Connor left to qualify here, and they've just got under 30 seconds left to do so.
Dylan Connor, after winning last week, will go to the back of the field either way, so this is just for bonus points for him. Oh, decent time from Dustin Shepard. He goes up to 5th place.
And Connor going to go P2 with a 31.42. So Bryan Hacker will step away with the Mad Plowing Fast Time Award here tonight, Kelly.
Yeah, fantastic running for Bryan Hacker, and that is what he needs to help secure his championship lead, just getting those bonus points where he can, and that will move him to be the second fastest. So your RC2 Graphic Solutions redraw, that is going to be the driver of the number 2, Bryan Hacker, taking home the Fast Time Award. Dylan Connor goes to the back of the field for his win last week, so we will skip over him. It'll be Randy Nichols then, Philip Martin, Guillaume Fortin, Dustin Shepard, Scott Negus, Jeff Bergner, and Rob Donaldson for our redraw. So give these guys a moment to get all lined up here, but we can take our very first driver of the night. And the driver taking home the Fast Time Award here tonight, that is going to be Bryan Hacker. And Bryan, this track seems to be working out for you. Tied for fastest in practice and now fastest in qualifying.
Yeah, it's probably technically my home track. It's not the same state, but door to door, this is probably the closest track to me. So hopefully we can have a good run here. It's not my favorite track, but it suits my driving style, so we'll see how tonight goes.
Well, a track that you're good at is always going to rank a little bit higher, even if you don't have too much fun at it. But let's move on to the redraw here. You get a full choice, numbers 1 to 8. What do you want?
Let's go lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7 coming off the board. Lucky number 7 is going to give you lucky number 7. So a little bit sliding a little bit further back. But you said you're fast here tonight. You think you can get it up to the front?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, starting on the inside should be a good thing. I think it's going to be kind of inside dominant, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, Bryan, so you're going to be starting back in 7th. Good luck to you tonight, and hopefully we'll be talking to you later on.
Thanks, Kelly.
So Bryan Hacker slides a little bit further back. We're going to keep moving along here, skip over Dylan Connor, and we're going to go with Randy Nichols next for Al Smith here.
Yeah, we're standing by with Randy Nichols, and Randy, it's a pretty fast hot rod here tonight, making it into the RC2 Graphic Solutions redraw. How's the outlook for tonight's feature event?
It's looking like tire wear is going to be a big factor in everything again this week. So it'll be interesting to see just how tire setting goes and plays into it.
Well, you make it into the redraw. Number 7 has come off the board. The pole is still out there. So any other number but the 7. Which number would you like here tonight?
Let's go with 4.
Number 4, and that is going to be the pole for Randy Nichols. So you talked about tire wear. You're going to be able to manage them from behind you and manage those tires starting up front?
We'll see. I think I might just let everybody go and just run my own race tonight and just kind of see how that plays out.
I wish you the best of luck. We'll be watching. And Randy Nichols is going to start on the pole here tonight.
So Randy Nichols going to be on the pole. Going to move along here. Next, we've got Philip Martin. All right, Philip Martin, third fastest here tonight, or sorry, fourth fastest technically here in qualifying, third to pick. But this track here tonight, do you think we're going to maybe get multiple lanes, or you guys are just going to be fighting for the bottom as if it's a large Martinsville?
It might open up a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see how much the bottom wears in and go from there.
All right, well, numbers set. Let's see. Brian took 7 and 4 were already taken by Nichols. So the pole is off the board already, unfortunately for you, but still a lot of good numbers out there. What would you like to take?
We'll do 3.
All right, number 3 coming off the board. That means Philip Martin, you will be starting in second place outside pole. So it is the outside lane, but do you think you can still make that front row start work?
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully we can find a pole to tuck in real quick and see how it shakes out.
All right, well, hopefully you can find that gap, and maybe we'll be talking to you a little bit later on in the top 3. So good luck to you, Philip.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Philip Martin, one of our fast qualifiers. He's going to be starting up on the front row outside of Randy Nichols, but keep going along here. And next will be the driver out of the Quebec, the 13 QC of Guillaume Fortin.
Yeah, Guillaume comes in 20 points behind Bryan Hacker. And Guillaume, Brian's going to have to start 7th here tonight. We got your numbers to choose from. 1, 2, 5, 6, or 8. Which number would you like?
I'll go with number 1.
Number 1. And that is going to be P number 8. So you and Brian starting next to each other. What's it going to take to get to the front here tonight?
I think the biggest thing is going to be about tire wear. It's a huge track saving. So I'm just going to ride and hopefully be on the bottom and try to make my way up front slowly.
We wish you the best of luck here tonight, Guillaume, and we'll see what you can do.
Thank you.
All right, so Guillaume Fortin going to be starting next to his championship rival, but next up we've got the driver of the 89 of Dustin Shepard. Hey, Dustin Shepard, a lot of people are talking about tire wear here tonight. Do you think it's really going to be that big of a factor?
Yes, I do. The right fronts are going to take a beating around this track tonight.
All right, well, we've gotten the first row taken and the back row taken. So there's number 2, 6, 5, and 8 for positions 3 through 6. What would you like here tonight?
Let's go number 5.
All right, number 5 coming off the board. You are going to be starting in P number 6. So outside start. Do you think that's going to be tough here tonight?
Yes, I do, for a little while anyway. Like I said, once the rubber gets down, high side will come in. You can pitch people off in the corners and keep the momentum up. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, hopefully you can maybe make something work and get up towards the front, and maybe we'll talk to you a bit later. Good luck to you, Dustin.
Thank you.
All right, so Dustin Shepard, he's going to be starting back in P number 6. So next up, we have got Scott Negus.
I've caught up with Scott. Scott, welcome to the RC2 Graphic Solution redraw once again this season. Fast-looking hot rod out there tonight, and we're hearing it could be a big tire game. What's your thoughts?
Definitely a tire game. Try to keep the right front on it is going to be the challenge tonight for sure.
Well, we know you got an extra set in the pits, so we don't want to see people use them unless you have to. But it should be a good race here tonight. Numbers 2, 6, and 8 are left to choose from. What number would you like?
Let's take number 6, please.
Number 6, and that is going to be P number 5, so an inside row number 3 starting spot. You like that inside start?
Yeah, it's the outside's not all that good here, but I think you get a little bit of momentum out there. I haven't really had much of a chance out there, but we'll see.
Well, we wish you the best of luck and congratulations on being in the redraw tonight.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Scott Negus is going to roll off P number 6, Kelly. Or P number 5.
Moving along here. Yeah, moving along here, we're going to catch up with Jeff Bergener in the number 21 car. Hey, Jeff, a lot of drivers are talking about the tire wear here tonight and talking about how important that right front is going to be, but we do have that extra set of tires in the pits, and with how big this track is, do you expect everyone to come down pit road under a caution?
Yes, definitely. I don't know how long these tires will hold on with the pace these guys are running. It's kind of crazy.
All right, well, let's see here. We've got numbers 2 and 8 left on the board for positions 3rd and 4th. I'm sure you're going to want that inside row here. So what number do you want to take tonight?
I'll take the 8.
Taking the 8, and that means you are going to be rolling off in P4. So unfortunately, outside start for you. Do you think it's going to be that big of a deal on the first initial start here tonight?
It can be, but you just got to take it easy on these tires, or else you're going to be screwed for the rest of the night.
All right, well, hopefully you can take it easy on the tires, make that right front last, and maybe make the right pit call, and hopefully we'll be talking to you later on. Good luck to you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right, so that's Jeff Bergener. He'll be starting in P4, and that means our last guy here, Rob Donaldson, we'll be catching up with him in a second here. He'll be starting in P3. Al, how about you tell him the news?
Yeah, we're sitting here, and Rob will be the last one across the stage here in front of a packed house at Milwaukee. And Rob, you're going to start P number 3, so not too bad to the start of your race, huh?
Not too bad. At least it's on the inside. It's just a very difficult track, man. It's hard to get used to, but I guess we'll see what happens tonight.
What kind of racing do you think we're going to see? We're hearing that the tire wear is going to be high. People are going to manage the tires. It looks like out there in hot laps right now, the times are really quick. Do you think that those times are going to fall or have to be backed up to save those tires?
I think people are definitely going to back it up a little bit to save tires. I mean, it's a pretty demanding track on tires as far as, a long sweeping corner. So I think tire management is going to be key and making sure you got something left for the end of the race.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Congratulations on your 3rd place start here tonight. And we look forward to see what you can do.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
So that will conclude the RC2 Graphic Solutions redraw, which was brought to you by your RC2 Graphic Solutions, your go-to source for professional graphic design, specializing in the racing industry. From season schedules and event flyers to winter graphics and social media content, they deliver high-quality designs that will make your league or event stand out. Need custom graphics? Contact them today at rc2graphicsolutions@gmail.com or visit them on Facebook at facebook.com/rc2 Graphic Solutions. RC2 Graphic Solutions, your events, our designs. And once again, Bryan Hacker taking home the Fast Time Award, brought to you by Mad Plowing, the proud sponsors of Speed. Whether it's clearing snow in the winter or keeping lawns sharp in the summer, Mad Plowing gets the job done fast and efficiently. Serving Oregon, Wisconsin, and the surrounding areas, they're the trusted name for all your landscaping needs. Call 608-217-3528 and let Mad Plowing show you the meaning of speed. Well, Al, just 1 minute to go here before we hit the grid, and I think this is going to end up being a very exciting race, but a lot of these drivers are already worrying about their right front tires.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see the kind of strategy plays we got here. 80 laps is a long distance, 80 miles of action here tonight for the Renu Sealcoating Late Model Stock Tour, but I think it's going to be interesting to see when they come down pit road and see what kind of pace they start off with. We know what kind of pace they set in qualifying. Will they try to run that pace early, or will we see slower times at the start of this one?
I think we'll have a couple of guys pushing hard early on, and they may move themselves up to the front, but they may die off as this race goes on. And it'll be interesting to see if the track does widen out a little bit. I mean, I'm an IndyCar guy. I see this track being a 2-lane track a few times. Usually the outside lane actually being the stronger lane, but I mean, that's a bit difference when you're talking IndyCar to stock car. A big difference in both weight and in downforce. So we'll have to see where these guys run here, but the last few seconds ticking off on warm-up. And despite the fact that it's not going to be the worth anything, our fastest guy in warm-up is Philip Martin, actually going even faster than his qualifying time by 0.2.
Yeah, and Kelly, to go jump back to where you said too wide, these late model stock cars like to get wound up. As long as they're not going to hit that chip, they got a little bit longer of a gear on them. That outside lane could obviously become the preferred lane here tonight. It'd be interesting to see if we do get 2x2 racing here at Milwaukee.
All right, well, let's get them lined up here, and let's go through your starting lineup here for the Brew City Classic presented by Renu Sealcoating. Starting on pole is going to be Randy Nichols. To his outside, Philip Martin. Then we have Rob Donaldson starting in third. Jeff Bergener will be starting on the outside of row 2. Row 3 sees Scott Negus and Dustin Shepard. And then the championship rivals are 2 contenders sitting in 7th and 8th as Bryan Hacker and Guillaume Fortin. Then we are going to see, Dante Curtis, and then Ryan Johnson in 11th. Braden Campbell rolls off in 12th. Justin McDuff in 13th. Scott Austin will be going off in 14th. 15th, we'll see the 91 of Adam Gable. Austin Williams will be rolling off in 16th. To the inside of row number 9 is going to be the 7 of Travis Hoffler, followed by Josh Nelms to his outside. Gary Eschen in that 23 machine will be rolling off in 19th with Josh Cole in 20th. Chad McLeod rolls off 21st. Dan Janjanin 22nd. Amos Odegaard 23rd. Matt Cook 24th. 25th to Ronnie Huntoon. Matt Hackathorn in 26th. And then starting shotgun on the field is going to be Dylan Connor. So a very stacked field here at the Milwaukee Mile, and we are just about ready to go. The pace car coming through turns 3 and 4 right now. And I believe with a track this big, we are going to be running. Let's see, are we doing multiple? I can't remember with this track. Yep, there it goes. Pace car down and away, and we are getting ready for our first green flag of the night. Randy Nichols leading the field to the green. And here we go, that 69 car running side by side. Philip Martin charging down into turn 1. And look at Rob Donaldson. He's going to surge ahead. And look at Philip Martin. He's going to find that gap he was hoping to get immediately. Those two taking off from the rest of the field that are already fighting side by side, trying to find their way to the bottom side.
Down in the turn 3 for the first time. Top 2 single file it out. One car way up in the third groove. That's the 21 of Bergner. He tries to make something happen up there. Donitson going to take the third spot away as he'll get free of bringing Scott Negus with him down the front stretch. Lap 1 already in the books.
And these guys trying to get themselves not only down to the bottom, but the guys on the bottom also wanting to get clear so they can save their tires and be able to run the full width of the track. Bryan Hacker already moving himself forward. He's along side by side with the 21 of Jeff Bergner. Bergner has not found the bottom yet. He has been wanting to get down there. He's already moving back as he's going to lose another spot here as Hacker is going to get through. And now look at the 20 of Justin McDuff getting a good run off of turn 4. He's going to be charging down the front straight, but a little bit of a better exit for Bergner. He's not quite going to get clear to find his way to the bottom though, as he's going to now actually get a little bit of a tap there in through 1 and 2 from McDuff. And now McDuff going to charge down to the back straight away, and I think will get himself clear of the 21 going into turn 3.
On board with Justin McDuff as he works through it. He's bringing Dustin Shepard along with him. Dante Curtis in line back there, and Guillaume Fortin. Remember, had to start on that outside lane. He has lost positions already to his championship rival as they all enter turns 1 and 2. And I tell you, McDuff starting to knock the rust off, and that moose is loose once again here in Milwaukee, knocking on a top 5 right now.
And we just had a swap for the race lead in turns 1 and 2. It was a very quick one there as Philip Martin got underneath Randy Nichols, and Nichols just quickly moved by. It looks like Nichols is trying to save his tires as Rob Donaldson gets shuffled out of line, and now Bryan Hacker to his inside. Hacker moving up quick here. He started in 7th. We're only on lap 5, and he's already got himself up into 3rd. And now here comes Justin McDuff just following him along. He's going to get underneath that 00 car, and he's going to move himself up into 4th. That outside lane is not working just yet. I think there needs to be a little bit more rubber and a little bit more heat in that bottom line in order for that second lane to become viable.
These cars that are moving through the field right now, Kelly, as quick as they are, do you think they're pushing a little bit too hard on these opening laps there? We know that tire conservation has got to be on these racers' minds, or do you think they're just trying to get up as far as they can and then maybe ride?
I think a few of them know how important track position is here tonight, as now we're seeing Guillaume Fortin get to the inside of Donaldson, who has fallen like a rock after moving to that outside lane. But I think there are a few drivers that are just trying to save. I think namely Randy Nichols. He kind of jumped out to an early lead and then immediately started dropping back. Easily gave up the spot to Philip Martin, and now has dropped back 0.7 of a second from that 46 car. And now he's got Bryan Hacker all over him. So I think he's trying to maintain a decent, steady pace, save those tires, but at the same time, not make it too easy for these guys passing him as Martin continues to open up that gap. Now 0.8 here going into 3 and 4.
Yeah, how far along do you let him go before Bryan Hacker really starts to press the issue? He'll cut to the inside now, try to get a run down this long front straightaway. Nichols with a good run though, can't quite get there, but the nose down low. Bryan Hacker going to try to go for second.
Yeah, Hacker is going to get his nose in there, force Nichols up the track. And I think Nichols may have gotten into the marbles there off of turn 2. He slid way up the track, lost a ton of speed off of 2 as he just went a little bit too high. And now he's going to give the spot up, try to get himself down in front of the 20. Not going to work. He's going to get tagged, and he's going to hang on to it. Gets another tap to straighten him out. So Justin McDuff is going to maintain his ground on that bottom side. Gave Randy Nichols a little bit of a tap to get him loose. Straightened him out as well, and now Nichols gonna get down in front of Guillaume, and Guillaume trying to get his nose to the inside of that 69 machine. Not quite gonna get there, so Nichols is going to hang on to, I think, 7th place it is right now, as Guillaume Fortin has not been able to move anywhere since the drop of this green flag. Started in 8th, he still finds himself in 8th. Meanwhile, his championship rival, Bryan Hacker, he's already got himself up into 2nd place. However, that is a 2nd place with a 1 second gap to Philip Martin, who is just trying to run away from this. And Al, I think Martin might be pushing a little bit too hard. We'll have to see if he starts falling back within the next maybe 20, 30 laps.
Yeah, but how much of that gap was really made when those drivers were battling for position now? You know what I mean? Like, Bryan Hacker now cuts it in, drives it in deep into turns 1 and 2, so that's still a 1.1 second race lead, but this time by it'll take about 10 100ths off that gap there. So Hacker a little bit quicker. Gonna catch. We'll see how hard Philip Martin is really pushing, or maybe he can take and drag himself back as Bergner pushes Guillaume Fortin up the racetrack. That'll move him back to the 8th spot. That is a side-by-side battle for P number 7.
Yeah, this is starting to look like a bit of a big Martinsville as these guys are fighting for that bottom lane, as Bergner just kind of got his nose in there under braking, kind of shoved Guillaume a little bit as Guillaume tried to shut the door, and now got himself up into the 8th place here, 7th place. Now Guillaume still struggling in 8th as just behind them, Gary Eschen had got past Dante Curtis. And a few drivers have moved themselves up through the field. Gary Eschen and Justin McDuff, both those guys have gained 10 positions as McDuff now finds himself in 3rd place. Still under pressure, though, from Scott Negus. Scott has also been kind of hanging along with these guys, moved himself up from his starting spot. So these guys may be pushing it a little bit too hard, but a lot of them have made their passes pretty quickly here.
Yeah, with how aggressive they have been, it's good to see. We've seen a little bit of contacts, but we go a little bit deeper in the field. How about Josh Cole? We haven't mentioned him, Kelly. And some drivers coming from the back. Matt Hackathorn up to the 19th spot already in that 404.
And Hackathorn, that is 7 spots for him here tonight. And another guy that had to start in the back was Dylan Connor. He's already got himself up to 17th. Still a long ways to go, but still a long ways left in this race as we get on to lap 13. One thing I'd like to mention is Philip Martin holding on to that fastest lap of the race, and was a 31.453 compared to a lot of other drivers whose fastest was a 31.5. So I think Martin was pushing pretty hard, especially early on here in this race. The lap times have kind of equalized between himself and Hacker. Hacker running slightly faster, about half a tenth faster last lap. We'll have to see if that gap is going to keep shrinking at all, but it's hovering at about 1 second right now as, yeah, once again, Philip Martin half a tenth slower than Hacker. You gotta wonder, are those tires starting to heat up and burn off, or is he just kind of laying up a little bit and trying to save those tires and make Hacker and the rest of the field try to push to catch him?
I think the latter of the two. Philip Martin, a seasoned veteran here, one of the long-time cars that we see in action at the NSRL season in, season out. And he's still just keeping that 1.1 second gap there, so I think he's just keeping them at bay at this moment.
Well, everyone pretty stacked up through the field here. Looked like Bergner was trying to look to the inside of Nichols through 1 and 2. See if going into turn 3 here, if Bergner is going to have any sort of run. Does not look like it at all. Looks like that 69 car got a good exit off of 2. Some drivers testing a little bit different entries into these corners here. They're a little bit further off depending on where they are here. As it looks like Bergner is still trying to take those peaks to the inside, but just not quite finding anything where he can really go for a move here. Matt Hackathorn is putting a lot of pressure on those guys in front of him as he follows along with Ryan Johnson and Dylan Connor. Dylan Connor all over the back of Scott Austin. Scott Austin is trying to hang on here, but Connor showing a lot of speed here. He's usually a very fast driver. Had to start at the back after winning last week and still trying to make his climb up to the top, but it's a bit of a difficult track to pass at. There is a lot of those straightaways are nice and long for you to set up a pass compared to, say, Martinsville. I keep comparing the Milwaukee Mile to, but it's still kind of hard to get that speed built up with these cars.
Yeah, we just watched the battle, though, Kelly, on the screen. 21 of Bergner worked up underneath Nichols, and that cost him 2 spots as Guillaume Fortin got by him as well. So Fortin up to the 7th spot. As we go back now to take a peek at what you were talking about with Hackathorn, and he's being pressured with Scott Austin and that group of cars right there. You say this track, Kelly, how much of a draft are these guys really getting down the straightaways?
I mean, there's got to be a decent amount of draft on these straightaways. They're fairly long for what these late models run. I think this is the longest track we run at, other than Iowa is shorter. So I think this is going to be the longest track with the longest straightaways here. So these guys are running at a fairly high rate of speed. So they got to expect these drivers to be punching a bit of a hole. Looks like Ryan Johnson nearly got his nose underneath Dylan Connor there in turn 3, but that really checked up his exit. Now take a look at the 0-4 car of Hackathorn. Gets right up to the bumper of Ryan Johnson. Looked to maybe make a move, but backed off there. We're actually seeing now at the front of the field that gap has opened once again. Philip Martin is now 1.3 seconds over Bryan Hacker. So you may have been right. I think Martin kind of just laid off for a little bit and slowed it up to kind of cool the tires off.
I think there's Fortin now gets around the 21 of Bergner. Bergner going to try to cross him back over. He'll drive it in deep. Here comes Gary Esch and Randy Nichols as well into this fray. This is a battle inside the top 10. Right there behind him, how about Josh Cole in the number 9 car? He works underneath Williams. Is both him and the 33 of Braden Campbell work by him. We're starting to see more cars in that outside groove, Kelly.
Yeah, I'm still watching Guillaume Fortin here, and he's holding on to the outside of Jeff Bergner. That outside lane might be starting to come in, so that inside may be starting to heat up. And one thing that kind of helps the outside lane is the fact that the inside is a little bit darker. So it's going to absorb a little bit more heat, get a little hotter, get a little slicker. And now look at this, Guillaume getting a good run down the back straightaway. He's about half a length ahead of the 21 car there. Oh, Bergner gets loose off of turn 4. That's going to cost him. He's going to lose a lot of momentum. That's going to allow Randy Nichols through. Gary Esch and Dante Curtis is now going to get to his outside. Curtis going to try to surge ahead on the outside lane under braking, going to go a little too high. And now let's see, is he going to be able to cross him up? Because he is. He's going to get his nose there onto the inside of the 21 coming off of turn 4 now. Oh, the 21 just lets off. So he did not want to fight anymore. Bergner wanted to just drop back and try to save the tires and play the long game here.
And he had a decent hole of a gap to do so with, so not a bad idea there after losing a few spots. Still sits inside the top 10. Already 23 laps gone, working lap 24, and Philip Martin has led it since early on in this one.
Yeah, I think maybe lap 3 or 4 is when he passed him up here, as Scott Negus is now starting to pressure Justin McDuff. Negus was taking a peek there in turns 1 and 2, just couldn't quite get his nose there. He's got a good gap here. Can he get a good run into turn 1? As Justin McDuff is just trying to hold off the 55. It looks like McDuff is getting a bit of a better launch off of the corner. Negus is seemingly a little bit faster through the middle of that time, though. McDuff getting way up the track. You see Negus actually getting onto the apron a little bit as, yeah, he surges through the middle of the corner, gets up towards the back end of the 20, but McDuff just getting a better exit, and I think that's really important here in Milwaukee when you've got this big of a straightaway. Just behind them, though, Guillaume Fortin, he's going to get to the inside of Dustin Shepard. Guillaume has figured something out. He's either been saving his tires or he's finally figured out how to make passes here. He's now gone from 8th, possibly even 9th at one point, now up to 5th. Is he's still trying to chase down that 2 of Bryan Hacker, who sits in 2nd, as Randy Nichols now also going to get to the inside of Shepard. Shepard getting a bad exit off of 2. And that is going to allow Gary Eschen to get to his inside. Can the 89 of Shepard make that outside line work? Actually, he's going to drop off there through the middle of the corner, just kind of let off and try to take that gap before Dante Curtis got there. And now actually defending the inside here, so Curtis won't go for it. Meanwhile, Curtis is too busy trying to defend his own spot as the 21 of Bergner just sails on into the inside of turn 1. Now side by side coming off the corner as the 89 car also goes a little bit high, and Bergner might get 2 for 1 here as he dove in on the 03 of Dante Curtis, and now he's also going to get to the inside of Dustin Shepard going into turn 3. Fantastic move from Bergner, but had to lean on his right front a little bit going into turn 1.
I was just about ready to mention as how throwing it in the corner that hard, how hard is that on these tires, and will they last? We know we have an extra set of tires. I assume we'll probably see some people hold on to them as long as they can, or you think people will start splitting the race at a halfway point, 40 laps or so in? I think we'll see some of these cars come in as they start working around this racetrack. I tell you, it's been a lot of comers and goers so far, and it's good to see. How about Gary Eschen? Limited starts this season, up 12 spots so far. Started back on the 19th spot. Currently sits in 7th.
Yeah, didn't have the best qualifying run here, but has now figured things out for the race, and he's moved up a ton of spots, as you mentioned. We do have one car that has pulled it behind the wall. That is the 85 of Austin Williams. He's now 4 laps down. I believe he has called it a night. I took a look. Didn't seem like there was anything wrong with the car, but there apparently was something in it causing him an issue, and he has called it. So that'll be it for him. Philip Martin, though, continues to lead as he has opened up a 1.6 second gap. As you mentioned, there may be a few drivers that are going to try to split it up here, and Milwaukee won't they lose too much ground coming down pit road. It is a very big track, so caution could still help you while you're down there. But we've seen a few times already this season, both at Iowa and even last week at Oxford, the guys that were able to make the tires last, even if those tires were screaming for mercy, they were able to just save it enough that having to not pit was better than pitting, and they were able to maintain the lead and take the win. We saw Ryan Johnson do that at Iowa, and saw a few guys try to stretch it out at Oxford last week. So we'll see if these guys are able to make these tires last. Namely, Philip Martin. Like I said, he has been cruising at a fairly decent pace, but that pace seems pretty equal with a lot of other drivers. There's a few guys that are pushing it a little bit harder than him. As we're going to take a look now at Scott Negus, he is still right on the bumper of Justin McDuff. It's pretty much a 3-car battle here for second place.
Yeah, those 3 cars are still nose to tail there, and Guillaume Fortin ever so closer inching in. And your top 9 cars all running a 31.6 last time by, 31.7s and 8s throughout the rest of the field here, Kelly. So these cars relatively even on pace. Right now, Philip Martin enjoying a 1.6 second lead over Bryan Hacker.
And these last 2 laps, Guillaume Fortin has put down the his fastest laps of the race, about a 10th faster than a lot of the guys around him. So it looks like he's just pushing a little bit harder to try to close up to those guys in front of him. And that little chain of 3 cars led by Bryan Hacker. We're going to keep mentioning it here because these are the 2 guys that are basically pretty much it for the championship. Everyone else is even 40 points behind Guillaume, almost 50 at this point. Yeah, but he's still only 20 behind Bryan Hacker. But every time that Guillaume even beats Hacker, it is not by much. So he only takes small pieces of the points lead out. So Guillaume has got to hope for Bryan Hacker to have a rough night here. And even still, if he does, we do have a couple drop weeks in this league. So Hacker sitting in a good position here. He's just been running very consistently towards the front of the field week in and week out.
Yeah, he definitely has. I mean, Mr. Consistency, you can nickname Bryan Hacker that way. Just taking it each week, and regardless if he has to start at the back of the field, look what he did at Okayama. Had to start tail there, comes in out of that race with a top 5 finish. Just really averaging a really strong average finish this season. And this is what he's doing. He sits there, he lies in the weeds, waits to get it done at the end of these races. And with only 4 races remaining after tonight, it could be really one of these nights could really end up being the one that solidifies it for him.
Yeah, I think Okayama is where Guillaume was hoping to get a good points haul. He knew he was fast there, and he was. He dominated that race, but he was hoping that with Hacker having to start in the back of the field and not having the advantage of getting a well-timed caution flag to help him kind of gain some spots and close back in, that he would maybe get a good advantage over him. But still, Hacker managed to crawl back into a top 5 position. We're going to take a look here through the field. Ryan Johnson is still right on top of Dylan Connor, who those guys have kind of stalled out after making some good passes earlier on in the race. As we have our first car taking pit road, Dante Curtis has already come down here, so I don't know if he's making that early call for tires or what, or he maybe caught the wall. I don't see any damage on that car, so but he's still at a dead stop, and I'm not seeing this. No, he's done. He's pulled it behind the wall, so something has come up for Dante Curtis, and that is it for him tonight.
Yeah, so 2 cars already out of the race. Curtis and Williams will be early exits here at Milwaukee, as Ryan Johnson took a peek to the inside of the number 90 of Connor. Couldn't quite do anything with him there, and now Donitsin making a move underneath Josh Cole.
Yeah, Donaldson trying to get in there, but not quite close enough. However, Cole is still leaving the door open. So that 00 car is going to have an opportunity now coming off of turn 4. He is going to get to the inside of the 9. And now side by side down the front straightaway, Josh Cole trying to shade to the inside, trying to get him to back off a little. Not going to work. As now Rob is going to get the inside through 1 and 2. And that inside line is still the place to be, it looks like, as that 00 car sails past the 9, nearly clear just through those 2 turns. And now through 3 and 4, can the 9 fight back? He's trying to hang on that outside lane. Still not going to be there. He's going to slide up the track a little, and that is going to cost him, as now the 90 of Dylan Connor is going to get to his inside, and they're going to be side by side. As it looks like Ryan Johnson is also going to try to follow him through. Those 2 drivers going to bang doors in 1 and 2. And that's not going to work out for Josh Cole, as he's going to slide up once again. And now it's even going to allow the 38 of Ryan Johnson to slide on through.
Johnson with a good run to the inside. They're trying to make it through. He will get there. Now they'll set sights on the 00 Donitsin. And I would say that these 2 drivers probably really good at saving stuff, as Guillaume Fortin up at the front has worked around both Negus and the 20 of Justin McDuff. McDuff going to try to cross him back down the backstretch. But now Fortin up to the number 2 spot.
And Guillaume has been pushing, and now Bryan Hacker has put the pedal down as he started putting down some 31.5s. I mean, he's been cruising in the 0.6s, even the 0.7s for a little bit, and we saw Guillaume getting into the 0.5s to catch up. And our first caution of the night is going to fly. So I think this is going to bring a lot of drivers down pit road. Looks like it's Josh Cole going to be spun on the outside of turn 4. So that is going to bring out the Wizard Designs caution flag here. And tonight's caution flags are brought to you by Wizard Designs, specializing in custom-made signs lit with LEDs and crafted with vibrant acrylics. Wizard Designs is where creativity meets craftsmanship. They've proudly designed the North-South Racing League's awards and championship trophies for 2 seasons running, and you can check out their amazing work at facebook.com/Witco23 or reach out to David Witkowski at yahoo.com to bring your ideas to life. And Al, let's take a look at the replay if you've got that queued up and see what happened to Josh Cole.
He is racing side by side with Scott Austin, gets by Hackathorn, comes in, and Cole starts to come down the racetrack. Hackathorn kind of washed up, and just got him in the left rear, and the car went sliding to the outside. Slight contact with the outside retaining wall. Doesn't look like it was too bad, though.
Well, hopefully it wasn't too bad for him. Let's see, though, where if the field's going to come down pit road. Philip Martin going to be leading this time, and yeah, here comes the train as nearly everyone comes down to pit road, gets those fresh tires, and they're going to split this race in half, essentially, just like you were expecting. Yeah, not under green, thankfully for them. I think a lot of these guys were hoping for this caution. Yeah, it is the entire field. Everyone has come down. So it is going to be a race off pit road. Let's see what the choices are. If it's going to be 2 tires, if it's going to be 4, and who is going to win that race off of pit road. And it is going to be the 2 car. Look at Bryan Hacker. He's going to sail on past those guys. Braden Campbell looked like, oh, big trouble on the pit exit. Justin McDuff, I think, caught the tires, and he got sent around.
We'll have to look back and see.
I think McDuff just maybe misjudged where his right side of his car was. I mean, that pit exit suddenly comes down in front of you, and I think that just caught him out. And there is some damage, some heavy damage to that right front of that car. It almost looks like it is crab walking down the back straightaway. So that is unfortunate for Justin McDuff. He has been having a great run here tonight as we come to our first choose cone as well of the night. The choose cone brought to you by Austin Designs. And I expect a lot of these guys to be taking the inside row, and that is exactly what happens. Looks like those first 4 cars taking the inside. Rob Donitson is going to be the first one to go on the outside as these guys will reform back up. So takers on the outside look to be the 00, the 89, the 90, who has made up a ton of ground after that caution.
I was going to say, 'cause I didn't want to jinx it. This race looked like it had a green flag look to it. But we know what that Austin Designs choose cone can do. And I was going to ask you, what do you think what the chances are of seeing this field really shaken up here because of the Austin Designs choose cone?
Well, it's shaken up because of the choose cone, and shaken up as well because of this pit stop. A lot of these guys took a different strategy throughout the field. A couple of these guys, like it looks like Bergener may have taken 4. Pretty much everyone in the back half of the field had to have taken 4 tires. They had about 10 seconds longer on their stops. What was surprising, though, was Bryan Hacker having such a fast stop. I mean, he was only about 1.2 seconds faster than Martin, but looked like he was out of his pit box way before Martin. So I don't know if I didn't catch it. Maybe Philip Martin had a bit of struggles getting into his box. He didn't really seem very centered in it either. So it may have been a problem for him just getting into his pit box.
Yeah, not really sure, because Bryan Hacker had a 10.43 pit stop, where everyone else in the 12 and 11 second range. So Hacker's crew was just on it, maybe a little bit less fuel. Could be a lot of different factors there, but Hacker's time on pit road definitely the fastest. We'll see if that turns to bite him here later on in this feature event. But the pace truck about to get down on the way into the Renu Sealcoating restart zone. They go for the first time here tonight. And green flag is back up, and we'll be back underway.
And Bryan Hacker immediately getting on the throttle. Rob Donaldson hoping for a gap. He's not going to get it. Philip Martin getting on the throttle and getting himself to the inside of that 00 car. Dustin Shepard going to be a big winner here from that Austin Designs choose cone. He's going to be able to get himself to the inside very early. Cannot quite get to the 00. He's still looking to the inside. Maybe going to try to dive into turn 3. He's going to test those new tires. He's going to get to the inside of the 00 car and force Donaldson to stay onto the outside. Now Donaldson going to have to try to defend against the 90 of Connor. Meanwhile, behind them, side by side, Heffler and Fortin. And that is going to be all Travis Heffler. He's going to move himself up into 6th. Guillaume Fortin going to have to drop back into 7th as the rest of the field battles side by side behind them. Still, we've got Dylan Connor right on the back of that 00 car. He's going to look to the inside of turn 3. He's going to go for it. Late on the brakes. He's going to hammer onto them, get to the inside door of the 00, and get himself through there to move up into 4th place. So Dylan Connor started at the back of the field tonight, and he is now up within the top 5.
And the report on pit road is the number 20 of McDuff has taken the car behind the wall. Too much damage to repair in the time left of this race. So a tough break for the driver out of Buffalo, New York. Had a great run to the front there and was just buying this time, and just a little cost too much damage there on that pit exit.
Al, I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing on the timing and scoring, but I'm seeing a lot of green. These guys are pushing hard. They know they don't have to make the tires last 80 laps anymore, so they're going to get the life they can out of them, and they are pushing hard here, as pretty much everyone is running about a few tenths faster than they were running earlier on here. Philip Martin, once again, with the fastest lap previously. I think it was a 0.4. It is now a 0.1. 31.1 from him. Same with Hacker with 31.193. So these guys are pushing hard, really putting the pedal to the metal now, as they only have to make these things last 30 more laps here as they come across the line to finish lap 50, as Bryan Hacker continues to lead over Philip Martin and Dustin Shepard, and then Dylan Connor and Rob Donaldson round out our top 5. Big battle here in the back, a little bit further back. Scott Austin holding on to 7th. Behind him, big gaggle of cars. Gary Eschen right behind him with Randy Nichols, and Matt Hackathorn trying to get past Travis Heffler, which he will just then. And now just behind them a little bit further on is Ryan Johnson. He's going to get to the inside there of it looks like Josh Nelms, who is now moving backwards. That's unfortunate for him, as he's kind of stuck on that high side here. He's dropped back to 15th and maybe even lose even more ground. He can't quite get to the bottom, as Adam Gable is going to get his nose in there.
And Nelms on that outside, maybe gets a run this time off the turn number 2, and not quite clear, but he's going to try to slam the door shut, and he will do so right on Adam Gable. So Gable's nose slammed in the front door there. Now we'll have to come off turn number 4. They're all in line. Car behind there, that was Braden Campbell. He came out off pit road relatively up towards the front and finds himself at the back.
Yeah, I thought Braden Campbell had a great pit stop there, but really finds himself further on back in the field. I don't know if he chose the outside line and just maybe got freight trained or what happened to that 33 car, but yeah, he's dropped all the way back into 20th, as that 91 car of Adam Gable is not taking kindly to get his the door slammed shut on him, as he was right onto the back of Nelm, still trying to pressure him into maybe a mistake or getting himself up into another position here. But at the same time, he's having to defend from Dan Jan, who's taking a few peeks.
Yeah, right now they're able to keep it in line there to work down the back stretch. And these guys are putting on a heck of a show here tonight. Scott Austin getting shuffled out up towards the front there. He's going to shuffle back to the 9th, and Hackathorn right there as well. And then there's a little bit of a gap there, so that is saving grace for the 5 of Austin.
Oh, battle for the race lead, though. Hacker getting a little bit of a shove from Philip Martin. Those guys were looking back and forth between the 2 lanes coming down the front straightaway. Martin took a look on the inside, then Hacker kind of slid over to block him. And now Philip Martin still trying to pressure that 2 car, trying to get himself back into the race lead that he has held for a majority of this race. Meanwhile, Hacker is trying to just increase his points lead over Guillaume Fortin, and he's already got the bonus point for leading a lap. He's got the bonus point for the fastest qualifying time. And now he's trying to take the race win here after coming so close last week at Oxford. But Philip Martin is trying to fight for that one, trying to get it back here tonight. But it is still a tough fight. Bryan Hacker's already got 4 wins on this season, and he is trying for win number 5.
Yeah, trying to be the 5-time winner in this season. Not only this season, but in this league, that is a hard feat to find. Usually, maybe you have a couple guys with 1 or 2 wins. Maybe this league, anybody can win week in, week out. Just shows you the dominating season that Bryan Hacker has really had.
And we've had another car pull it down behind the wall. Josh Cole has called it a night, so he will be the 4th car out of this race. But we still have 22 cars rolling along here, all cars on the lead lap. Not too surprising considering how large this track is for these cars. As Bryan Hacker continues to lead over Philip Martin, but Martin is still trying to fight back here. He's lost a little bit of ground now. He's about 2/10 back of Bryan Hacker, and then another 7/10 back we see Dustin Shepard, and then there's a big gap all the way to Dylan Connor in 4th. As now Guillaume Fortin has actually dropped a lot of positions here, so he is struggling now as he's got kind of freight trained and moved back into 9th, as Gary Eschen is now taking a look at the 69 car of Randy Nichols. Is just in front of them actually. Rob Donaldson going to get to the inside of Connor.
Connor up the racetrack, working the outside of the speedway, trying to hold off to the Nitson entry. That black and blue car dives it down into the corner. He'll take that spot away in fashion, and Randy Nichols right there as well. Gets into the left rear quarter panel, loosens him up, and here comes 2 more cars. Hackathorn, they're going to go 3 wide on the front stretch.
Yeah, we're going to go 3 wide into turn 1 here. Is anyone going to back out? No, and that's going to cost these guys As Dylan Connor gets a little bit of a tap, he's going to slide back a little bit and then get into the door of the 13 QC. So Dylan Connor goes from being in the top 5 to shuffle all the way back here into, I think, 9th place now, and maybe even go even further as he cannot find the bottom lane. And that bottom lane is still the lane you need to be in, as the 5 of Scott Austin gets to his inside now. He's trying to fight back on the high side, but it is not working, as Austin is actually going to give Guillaume a little bit of a shove. Austin had a good run down the front straightaway, but didn't want to force it into another 3 wide charge into turn 1.
Teddy did not, and they're working down the backstretch. And this has been the best battle on the racetrack for the most part. Meanwhile, up front, it is still Bryan Hacker by 2/10. Scott Negus going to get turned sideways. Oh, big pile up off of turn number 4.
Big crash off of 4, going to involve at least 4 cars here. Negus, Huntoon, Gable, and Nelms all involved. I think a few more cars may have gotten tagged here. I think the 21 was involved. Oh, I think, yeah, there's big trouble off of 4. We'll have to take a look at the replay here in a moment to see what is going to be the call here and who's going to claim that caution maybe, but this will shake things up a little bit, close up the field, and we're going to have another another Austin Designs choose cone.
Looks like Jeff Bergner got down to the inside of Scott Negus as they were trying to work underneath the 90 of Connor. And that triggered it, Kelly. They were all sideways there, and Negus's car gets slid up the racetrack. And Josh Nelms nowhere to go. Gable involved in Huntoon. Those are the 4 cars involved. It looks like Huntoon hits the outside retaining wall pretty hard. Everyone else might be okay.
And Negus, Gable, and Nelms all coming down pit road to get some of that damage hammered out here. So this will close the field back up and will once again bring out the Austin Designs choose cone. So once again, the Titans choose cone is brought to you by Austin Designs. Scott Austin specializes in custom paint schemes for iRacing, crafting eye-catching designs that bring your car to life on the track. His work is a staple in the North-South Racing League, with several drivers sporting his incredible designs on every broadcast. Reach out to Scott Austin on Facebook for pricing and inquiries, and let him take your iRacing look to the next level. We're going to come back around this time. I don't believe we're choosing this. Oh, no, we are choosing this time. So there is this Austin Designs choose cone. It is the M here on the track for the Milwaukee Mile. As, of course, we're going to see Hacker and Martin both take the inside, and Dustin Shepard's going to take the outside. We saw him do that on the previous caution, and it worked out for him. He went from a little bit further back in the field, and he got himself up into 4th. Then just behind him, Randy Nichols also taking that outside lane along with Guillaume Fortin, and then it's another few cars before we see the next one. That's Dylan Connor coming all the way up from 11th place, move up into, I believe, what is effectively 8th.
So there's another restack up here at the front of the field as they get ready to go into the Renu Sealcoating restart zone.
Yeah, we are ready to go here. Bryan Hacker leading the field once again. Less than 20 laps to go. I believe it'll be 16 to go once we get the green flag here, as we enter the restart zone. And there he's going to go. Good launch there for the 2, and good launch for the 89 as well. Almost too good. He's not going to find that gap there going into turn 1. He's going to have to try to slide down in front of the 46. That's not going to happen. Philip Martin going to try to get there. Oh, bit of a bobble in the middle of the corner from Martin. That may allow an opportunity for Dustin Shepard. Good charge down the the back straightaway, and that is going to allow Dustin Shepard in to take over 2nd place, as all of these drivers continue to battle side by side, going almost 3 wide. They are going to go 3 wide off of turn 4, and that looks to be the 23 car trying to slide himself up. Gary Eschen going to make a couple passes there as he moves ahead of Donaldson, going to go himself into the top 5. Meanwhile, going into turn 1, we got a battle for 2nd place as Philip Martin gets to the inside of Dustin Shepard. He's trying to take 2nd place back so he can charge down Bryan Hacker. Hacker trying to open up as much of a gap as he can while these guys are fighting behind him, as Randy Nichols kind of follows along behind Philip Martin, trying to push him through, as he is going to finally get through and clear of Dustin Shepard. Shepard going to have to drop back behind Nichols as Nichols shades down to the bottom side, and that's going to force Phillip to kind of defend it. And that's going to make him use those front right tires up a little bit more, having to defend the inside, take a shallower entry. And that will help Nichols a little bit in the long run, as now just behind them, Dylan Connor taking a look to the inside of Gary Eschen, not going to have the run down the back straightaway. He's not going to be able to make the move into turn 3. Guillaume going to close right up to him, though, as behind a little bit further back, Rob Donaldson in that 00 car, he's moving to the back. He is struggling on that outside line. He has not been able to find the bottom, as now he is side by side with the 33 of Braden Campbell. And now he is going to lose the ground, going to have to slot in front of the 7. Not going to get there, though, as Heffler just kind of surges ahead in the middle of the corner. Oh, the 04 gets turned around. Matt Hackathorn is spun off of 2. And the caution flag from Wizard Designs once again going to be flown for the 3rd time here tonight.
A little bit of left front damage on Hackathorn's car. That Ram Racing Concepts entry. You gotta believe that he's probably not too happy. He's immediately gonna take that car to pit road. Let's take a look back here and see what has actually happened. Came off a turn corner there, and I believe that was the 93 car, Chad McLeod, there behind him.
We'll see if he's going to claim that caution there, and that will once again bring out the Austin Designs choose cone, as we are under the Wizard Designs caution flag. So we'll have to see where these guys are going to go. I mean, Phillip Martin kind of lost out a little bit from that last one, but I think it was just a bad jump there on the initial green flag, as he kind of allowed the 89 of Shepard to kind of get down there, and that cost him some time as he had to work his way around Dustin Shepard to get himself back into second. And by the time that happened, Hacker had kind of run away a little bit, but we are going to be under 10 to go once we get the green flag. I think we're choosing this time by, which means we may get the green flag with, I think, 9 to go if my math is right.
You would be correct. You want to do my job for me so I can take tomorrow off?
I've got to do my own job, unfortunately, so I mean, if I could do yours at the same time and collect 2 paychecks, that'd be great.
Well, no, I was going to collect mine. I just was going to sleep.
Yeah, I'm not doing it then. But so Bryan Hacker continues to lead, and he is going to have the lead once again here on the this next green flag, which is, I mean, this could be the last one. We're going to have our fingers crossed this is going to be the last caution. But I mean, cautions breed cautions, and especially this late in the race with a track where there is really only one lane to be on, as once again, Hacker choosing the inside. Unsurprisingly, Phillip Martin going to follow him. Randy Nichols rolling the dice. He's going to take the outside. And looks like the 89 is going to choose the inside this time by. So that's going to allow Gary Eschen to move himself up into 4th. We have another few guys that are choosing that bottom lane. Who's the next one going up there? It looks like Scott Austin, who has been a little bit further back in the field throughout the night here. So good run from him late on here, as he's moved himself up into 6 now with this choice of his own choose cone.
Well, you know, Austin is doing Austin things, Kelly, this season. He has always seemed to show up at the later stages of these races and sneak away a good finish. He's had a fast car. Sometimes Lady Luck not on his side. We'll see what this can bring to him. We have 9 laps to go. Coming to the green flag here.
And here we go. Coming to the Renu Sealcoating restart zone, and Bryan Hacker going to get on the loud pedal, get a good start there. And that is also going to be a good start from Phillip Martin. He's going to get his nose to the inside of Randy Nichols, force Nichols to stay on that high side. Just behind them, Gary Eschen going to find the bottom, going to get just in front of Dustin Shepard. And this is going to be big for Phillip Martin. He has got to make this pass quick before Bryan Hacker can run away. We've only got a few laps to go. These guys have to lean on their tires and give them everything they've got to try to get this win here tonight. Bryan Hacker trying to open up the gap as cars scramble all over the place, trying to find that bottom line. Guillaume Fortin trying to get past the 5 of Scott Austin here, coming into turn 1 as Nichols gets turned around.
Yellow is, Nichols gets T-boned by the 15 of Matt Cook, who had nowhere to go. Cautions breed cautions, Kelly.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the 15 there. I think that was a little bit of target fixation as Matt Cook came into turn 2. I mean, the car was on his outside. He was still carrying a lot of speed. The caution flag had been out, and then just kind of ends up going up the racetrack into the 69 car.
I think he thought the 69 was going to continue going down, but Nichols really locked the car down and stayed there. And just wrong choice. That happens. We're underneath our 4th yellow flag.
Yeah, this will shake things up once again, and we'll have to see. I mean, it's been good. This is definitely good for Bryan Hacker. It ticks away a few of the laps, and each time we get the green flag, he's able to jump out to a good lead. Philip Martin is able to hang on to 2nd place, but he's got to make a pass to do it, and that allows Hacker to open up nearly half a second each time. And this time we're going to have only a handful of laps to go. It'll almost effectively be a green-white checkered, I think. I think it'll be just a little. We'll have a couple more than that, a little, but it's going to be under 5.
I think we'll have a unofficial green-white checkered attempt.
I think it might be 3. I think that might depends on if they're choosing this time.
Agreed.
So we'll have to wait and see what these guys do if we are going to go to the Austin Designs choose cone this time by. I mean, it's still also not out of the realm of possibility to get our green-white checkered. I mean, we've seen these last few times as we had the longest run early on in this race. These guys went over half the race under green as they kind of just went by that first half, and then ever since they've been pushing hard on these restarts, trying to get as many spots they can here. As yet, looks like the Austin Designs choose cone is out. And oh, Philip Martin gonna try it on the high side this time. He's been working the inside. It's not quite worked out for him as he's had to fight for that position. So he's gonna go for it. He's gonna see if he can maybe get something done on the high side. And I don't know how well that'll work out for him. Maybe he'll be able to get a good start. He's maybe hoping for Eschen to have be a little bit late on the throttle, and maybe he can get himself down into that 2nd place without having to fight for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see there. Maybe trying to think out there. Maybe a little see what happens. Maybe the outside will be there on this restart.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The high side has not quite been there, and with these few cautions that we've had, I think it's allowed the inside lane to cool off a little bit. I haven't been keeping an eye on the track temps throughout the night, but we're coming to the Renu Sealcoating restart zone, and let's see here who's going to take the win here tonight. Bryan Hacker going to get on the throttle, and oh, bad start for Philip Martin. He's actually going to check up the high. Oh, big checkup from the 23 car of Eschen. Oh, we got to wonder if there was maybe some gamesmanship happening there. Eschen may have been trying to allow the 46th in, and that is going to allow Philip Martin down to the inside. And that's actually really going to hurt Eschen as he's lost ground to Dustin Shepard and nearly lost the position to Jeff Bergener, who's now to his outside. But that has been exactly what Philip Martin needed as he's trying to chase down. And oh, caution will come out once again. And as a spin for Travis Heffler, and looks like Rob Donaldson in turn 4.
Yeah, both those cars facing the wrong direction.
Here. Adam Gable also went around.
So 3 cars spin down in turns 3 and 4. Bring out our yellow flag and bring us into overtime here tonight. So a little extra bonus laps.
Yeah, I believe we get 1 attempt at the green-white checkered. So this will be it most likely, as we are already on lap 78 here of scheduled 80 laps. And that was an interesting restart, Al. It looked like Gary Eschen had the spot. He had the run. Philip Martin was caught a little bit sleeping on that start, and then suddenly Eschen slowed up.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he missed the gear as we were just watching that replay. You know what I mean? The missed go from 2nd to 3rd. These cars, it is possible. We've seen it happen in other racing series on the Turn 3 Racing Network.
Yeah, I use paddles, so I don't know about that. I don't have an H pattern of my own here, so Yeah, it's definitely possible that he missed the gear and just didn't quite get the car to shift there. So that could be exactly what happened, and I think that was exactly what Martin was hoping for. He was right on Hacker. He had an opportunity there, and now I don't know if there'll be enough time. He'll have to really go for it. He's going to have to hope for basically the exact same thing to happen here if he does choose that outside lane. But this will be our one and only attempt at a green-white checkered, so our only overtime start here. We'll see if the Austin Designs choose cone will come up this time. Yeah, so it is out there this time. Once again, it is the M in Mile in Milwaukee Mile at the start-finish line. And keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on where these first two will go. And unsurprisingly, Hacker to the inside. And yeah, Philip Martin going to go for it once again. See if he can make it happen. Dustin Shepard will be on the inside of row 2 this time. And so will Gary Eschen. It's going to be Jeff Bergener to be our next guy to take the outside lane.
We saw how aggressive he was earlier in this race, Kelly Bergener. So see what he's got up his sleeve on the outside. How about Ryan Johnson? And Guillaume Fortin knows he has to make something happen on that last restart. He got shuffled out 3 wide action, and he was well outside of the top 10.
Yeah, if he can't get something done tonight, I think the championship will almost... I mean, it won't be mathematically wrapped up by Bryan Hacker, but with how he has been running, it's essentially going to be his championship to lose. But let's see what happens here. I remember a caution flag in the first lap will end the race and freeze the field. If we can get to the white, we will race to the end. Let's see, Bryan Hacker, Philip Martin, who's going to get it as we come to the Renu Sealcoating Designs restart zone. And Bryan Hacker will launch. And once again, that inside line can get a bit of a better run down into turn 1. This is going to be a problem for Philip Martin. He's not able to defend that inside line. He had to wait to the outside. Oh, he's going to sail it on the outside. Great drive there on the outside lane. He's going to get ahead of the 89 car. Now going to have to defend the inside as he didn't quite get a good run off the corner. Bryan Hacker continues the lead. He's got himself about a quarter of a second lead over Philip Martin here. Coming off of turn 4, white flag in the air. Can we get to it or will we end it? And we are going to get our final lap here. White flag for Bryan Hacker. He's just got one more mile to go over Philip Martin. Martin trying to catch up to him. He's not quite going to get there. That gap still a quarter of a second for Bryan Hacker. Martin giving it everything he's got down the back straightaway. Cannot quite catch up to Bryan Hacker. 2 more turns for the 2 car. Hacker through 3 and 4. He goes. Philip Martin not quite gonna be there. Hacker is gonna get win number 5 of the season. He wins the Renu Sealcoating Brew City Classic.
Philip Martin gonna come home in second. Dustin Shepard third. How about Ryan Johnson coming home in 4th? In your hard charger of the race tonight, Gary Eschen rounding out your top 5.
Yeah, and Philip Martin, you can't say he wasn't trying there. He ran the fastest lap of the race on that final lap, over a 10th faster than Bryan Hacker. He was giving it all he could get out of that 46 machine, but just not quite able to get Bryan Hacker here tonight as he is going to take home the win. Dustin Shepard makes the right call on that last choose cone, and he's going to come home in 3rd after all of that, and just a good race here tonight, Al.
Very good race. A lot better of a race than I was anticipating for the Milwaukee Mile. Didn't really know what to expect with these late model stock cars. And once again, the NSRL and the Renu Sealcoating Late Model Stock Tour providing us another great night of racing.
Well, we are going to get these guys lined up, get them out of their cars, and we are going to go into the ZooFab Garage post-race show here in just one moment. But once again, Bryan Hacker continuing to lead the championship, and that is going to be a big points haul here tonight as Guillaume Fortin could not quite get it done. He is going to come home in 11th. So he's going to lose even more ground here in the point standing, especially with Hacker getting the lap lead point and the bonus point for getting our Mad Plowing Fast Time award. So big points haul for the 2 car, and like I said, this, even with 4 races to go, it essentially is going to be locked up for Hacker. He's going to be in the driver's seat. It is going to be his championship to lose, but I think he is out of the car. He's ready to go. Let's go and talk to him and get this ZooFab Garage post-race show going here. So your winner here tonight, it is going to be the 2 of Bryan Hacker. And Bryan, it looked like it was going to be a long green flag run throughout the race here, but then you had a caution about the halfway point. How much did that change up the strategy?
Yeah, I mean, it changed the whole complexity of the race. So I was running to go 80 green, and I thought we were going to, and you know, right around that halfway mark, right before we got that yellow, I just decided to turn it on a lap and see what we could do, and we were 0.2 faster than what we had been running, and I didn't think Phil had that pace in him for all 80, so I think it would have come back to us, but I know that there were some guys behind us that were on that same tire saving strategy, so who knows how it had ended up, but it's too bad that you know, we kept stacking them up and slowing them down here at the end of the race. This track is really hard to get anything going on the outside, so I'm sure those guys that were jumping up top were trying to pinch and probably not working out too well, but happy to get the win regardless.
And that pass happened on pit road. Did you see maybe what happened between yourself and Philip Martin that you were able to make that stop? I mean, you had the fastest pit stop here tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, you know, superior talent of stopping in my pit stall. I have no idea. I mean, it's just luck of the draw sometimes, so we'll take it. I've had it go certainly the other way on pit road, probably more times than it's gone my way, so to win one by making the pass on pit road, we'll take it. I think we had the pace in the car to get it done tonight, but certainly made it a little bit easier that back half.
Well, you have a good points cushion now for the championship lead, and with only 4 more races to go, are you just going to set it into cruise control here, or are you still going to be gunning for it every night?
I don't know if cruise control is the way to go, right? You know, if you play not to lose, then likely not going to work out too well for you. So we're going to go out there and still try to bring some trophies home, but yeah, I think we just need to be smart about what we do, and you know, don't put the car in harm's way when it's not necessary to do so. So we'll see how it goes the rest of the way. Starting at the tail next week at Concord's going to be something. But you know, I'd rather be playing from the lead than playing from behind.
Well, Bryan, this is your 4th time in victory lane, and you've had a lot more top 3s other than that. So I think you're familiar with how things go from here. So we're going to give you the floor, give you the mic, and who would you like to thank tonight?
Yeah, Scott Austin Designs. You know, everybody that's been on the car here for a number of years now. Carbon Junction, Aberdeen Lodge, Boulder Beer Bar. You guys for coming out and doing this, and you know, again, huge shout out to the league for raising the amount of money they did last week for the charities that mean a lot to us right now, over $700 in total, which is, you know, humbling and awesome. So, you know, huge shout out to all these guys, and you know, nice run for Phil there, running second. He pushed me a little bit harder than I wanted to there after that pit road stop, but happy to bring home the win.
All right, well, thanks for coming out and talk to us, Bryan. And even though you're going to be starting from the back of the field in Concord, I'm sure we'll hear from you at least a little bit next week.
Let's hope so.
All right, good night, Bryan. Well, thanks for coming and talking to us.
Thanks, guys.
That is Bryan Hacker, your winner here tonight at the Brew City Classic. And now I'm going to move it along with Al, who I believe has caught up with our 2nd place finisher.
I have sitting down here with the driver of the 46 of Philip Martin. And Philip, man, I think you led the most laps here tonight. That pit stop, was that really the difference maker?
Yeah, a little bit. I felt like I still had a shot at him after that. Just I needed laps at the end. I didn't need all those yellows. I needed to be able to run and get back to him a little bit.
Yeah, he just said that you were pushing him a little bit harder than he would have liked to. You seem to have a really good knack for this racetrack. What about Milwaukee? Seems to fit your driving style. Not that you've lacked anything this season, but this, I feel like tonight was probably one of your better shots this season at a win.
Yeah, for sure. It's probably the best night we've had all season. It's kind of been frustrating. We've had some good runs and just no luck on our side. You know, I think Darlington was our best finish at 4th, but everywhere else we've been top 5 speed, and then I don't know, 15th somewhere at the end. So I really kind of like this place, letting it roll, use the brakes a lot, and point it and go and try and save that right front. So I don't know, it fits me pretty good. I actually learned a little bit watching Dylan earlier in practice and stuff too. So
I mean, this was a fantastic race. I wasn't really sure what to expect coming here to Milwaukee with these late model stock cars, and you guys went pretty much the first half of the race all green flag there. Then the back half there, I think those restarts, everybody knowing how important track position was. We saw you try the outside and then stick it back to the inside there. Just nothing was really going up there.
yeah, it's tough to get the top to go here. You can use it to try and get a little bit of runs down the straightaway and stuff, but it's really tough to make a pass on the top. You need that bottom. So
Well, next week the series heads to Concord as we march towards the end of the 2025 Renu Sealcoating Late Model Stock Tour. And Concord, a tricky little triangle of a racetrack as well. I'm looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite racetracks as a driver, so I'll look forward to it. I don't know if any of y'all are really looking forward to it.
I love that place. I like that challenge. It's a lot of fun. Hit your marks, and it just kind of turns into a rhythm racetrack. Close door-to-door action. The top comes in a little bit, so it's tough, tight racing. So we'll see what we got for next week.
All right, Philip, we'll roll the red carpet out for you. We'll see what you got. Who you got to think on this race car to put you here in P number 2 tonight?
Dante Curtis Designs. Thing looks awesome. We debuted this last week for the Kendall Hacker Memorial and decided to just keep rolling with it for a little bit. So, Bultmeyer Engineering, all the drivers are coming out tonight. 26 cars, race, 11 of the season. So that's still pretty cool to get full fields, and hopefully they keep coming back for the end of it. And, all the other admins for all the hard work and get down to the end here. So we'll start trying to put some stuff together for next season and see what happens.
Well, best of luck, Philip. We look forward to talking to you next week at Concord.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. Philip Martin going to come home in P number 2, Kelly, and I believe you've reached our third member of the podium, Dustin Shepard.
Yeah, here now with Dustin Shepard. And Dustin, it seemed like you rolled the dice a couple times when we came to the Austin Designs Choose Cone. And what was your thought process each time you came up to it, whether you would take high or low?
Like I said, I tried it that time we got to the where I got to the outside for second place, trying to see how I could do, and I gained a spot there. And then, me and Phil raced, and I think he got back by me anyway. And then the next time I was like, well, I'm going the low side because it's only worth one. I wouldn't get the lead out there, so it was kind of who was starting on the inside and outside around me. I could think I could outroll them better into one and off.
Well, it seemed like a very one-lane race here tonight. How hard was it to fight for that bottom side, especially on an outside restart?
Oh yeah, you had the guy behind you had to get loose under you or miss the corner, and you fall in between two guys. Like I said, you needed to be on the inside. The outside wasn't going to do anything.
Well, next week we're going to a track that I think is fairly cool, fairly fun. We're going to Concord. What's your thoughts on that track?
I enjoy that track. I've raced it a lot in the street stocks, a few times in late models, but I really like that the mini Pocono feel, kind of, I call it. I don't know, it's just big, deep, steep corners you dive into, and it's just fun.
All right, Dustin, well, thank you for coming out and talking to us tonight. We're going to give you the floor here, give you the mic. Who would you like to thank for your third place run tonight?
All the admins here at North South Racing League, of course, all the drivers that, keep this thing going. We have, we average 20 cars, give or take, every week. So we have good turnouts with them. Of course, you guys for broadcasting Turn 3 Network. Right, is it Turn 3? Sorry, is it Turn 3?
It is Turn 3.
Sorry. Brain fart. Long day. DC Designs for my paint. J&G Hardwood for, always keeping my computer up to date. Renu for stepping on board and sponsoring the league this season. Just everybody else, that's kind of involved in the league and keeps us going.
All right. Well, thanks once again for coming out and talking to us, Dustin. Congratulations once again on your third place tonight, and hopefully we'll hear from you next week in Concord.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That is our third place finisher here tonight, Dustin Shepard. And Al, I think we had some good racing here tonight. We were talking about that right before the post-race show, and I don't know your opinions on Concord. I think it's really fun. Like Dustin said, it is pretty much a mini Pocono, and I'm looking forward to being there next week.
Yeah, Concord was I was really excited when they put that on the schedule. It's one of those tracks that we don't really see on a schedule too often, and for them to add it this season, I think it's going to put on a great show next week. Like Dustin just said, a mini Pocono. It's one of those tracks that is gone in the real world, but we get to live on and enjoy it here in the sim world, and really looking forward to what that race is going to put on for us in 1 week's time. But man, what about tonight's race? We had a little bit of everything. We had that long green flag run. Then we had some short runs. We had some mix-ups in the front here. It was a great night all around.
Yeah, a lot of great racing here tonight, and I'm sure we're going to have some more next week. And just a few more races left on the season. As mentioned, Concord next week, then Southern National, Lanier, and then closing it out with a showdown race at Five Flags Speedway. But that is going to do it here tonight. Once again, Bryan Hacker is your winner here tonight for the Renu Sealcoating Brew City Classic. But that'll be all for us here tonight. So, on behalf of myself, Al Smith Jr., and everyone at the North-South Racing League, we'd like to thank you for coming out and watching us. And we hope to hear from you again next week. And once again, we will see you in Turn 3. Have a good night.